Hi, there's been quite a few discussions on my Facebook page over the last few weeks about how to create these 3D type flowers that you can see here. This is actually a Stampin Up die on the left here, and when you cut this out with a Big Shot or a manual die cutter, the result that you get is this on the right. So basically you get a flower shape that's cut all around the outside area, and then you've got these little sections in the middle that are cut but held in place at the bottom here. And it's easy enough to do in ScanNCut canvas. So today I thought I'd show you how to do it. So I'm going to get these out of the way. Now, I've not got any flower designs in the basic shapes here. So what I've done, I've gone onto the ScanNCut machine and found 3 different flowers, saved them onto a USB stick, and I'm going to bring those into ScanNCut canvas first, and then I'm going to show you how you can do the same thing with any design that you find on the internet. So I'm going to come to the SVG icon, and they're not SVG files, they're ScanNCut files, but that's just the name on the icon, and it's asking me to choose my file. So I'm going to go to my ScanNCut USB, and they're here, number 48, and I'm going to say choose and OK, and that will bring the 3 flowers onto the mat that I saved from the machine. So these are individual files. So I'm just going to move these out of the way for now, and I'm going to work on this one. I'm going to make the size slightly smaller, nearer to probably about the size that I would want to cut it initially, but you can resize them obviously up or down later. And then while it's selected, I'm going to create a duplicate and just put that on one side. I'm going to use the zoom icon, and I'm just going to zoom in on this one flower so you can see it better. Now when I select it, you can see it's got a bounding box all around the edge, so that shows me this is the flower I've got selected. And then what I want to do is break these points here. But if I double click to expose the nodes and then just try to delete a section, that line's now selected turquoise. If I hit break, it breaks it apart there, which is fine. And then I can manipulate the nodes and bring them down. Then when I come to the next section here, if I want to do the same again, if I click this icon, it will close that one back up. So if I undo and keep that broken, then if I select here again and go to delete, basically it just deletes that node but still keeps everything attached. So that's not the way that we need to break this apart. So I'm going to click undo so it all gets joined up again. Okay, and then this time what I'm going to do, I'm going to come to the basic shapes, choose a circle. I'm going to have to zoom out again for a minute. I'm going to size this circle down. Now if I left click and drag on any of the corner nodes, it will bring the circle in without making it misshaped. If I select here, it just squashes it down. And if I select here, it squashes it down. But if you choose any of the corner ones and drag it in, it brings it in and keeps the aspect ratio maintained. So I'm going to take this down, and I want it to fit over the middle. I'm just going to zoom back in again so you can see what I'm doing. So I want to make it quite small, but not too small that it doesn't overlap all these points here. And that kind of looks about right, and this circle needs to be on top of, in this case, the flower. So I'm going to select both, and I know I've got them both selected because I've got a blue dashed bounding box around the flower and around the circle. I'm going to come to edit and come to the process overlap icons and choose the far right, which is subtract. And that basically has broken this design up now, but you can see when it's selected, it's still only got one bounding box around it, and I need these to be individual so that I can manipulate each one. So with it selected, I'm going to go to right click and hit divide, and that will now make these individual pieces. So I'm going to select this first one and then select it again, and that exposes the nodes, and straight away you'll see there's a turquoise line here. So what you need to do, you need to first of all come to the bit that's this icon here on the far right that says open/closed outline, and you need to select that, and that will break the point at that chosen section. And then now this line is automatically highlighted, and you need to select this one that says delete point, and that's got rid of the line. So I'm going to now select the next one, click it twice, automatically there's a line selected. If it's one of these lines up here that's selected, try clicking on a different section, like now there, that's selected. I don't want that, I want this here. So with this selected, click the open path, and then it's automatically selected this next section here, hit divide. So I'm going to click twice on this one. Now you can see this one's selected, and I don't want that, I want this line here. So I'm going to select this node and see if it selects, and it's not. So what we need to do is we need to break the point. So this line's selected, so break the point. I know it's got rid of that line, but we can rectify that in a minute. Now it's selected this line and we want to delete. Then what we can do, we can click and drag and bring this node back down. Select this one, double click it to get a section highlighted. This is the section we want highlighted anyway, so we click open path. Select this one. Again, now it's only selected these few nodes here, so open the path, and then with the next part of the section design node selected, delete. So that's now opened all these sections here. So I'm going to zoom back to fit the mat. I'm going to come to this one now, which is the exact same size, but we want this one to be bigger. So with this one selected, I'm going to go to edit, offset, and I'm going to create an offset of about 16 as an outward and say OK. Remove the middle bit, which was the original design. Because these are all individual pieces, I want to group them. So I'm going to drag an imaginary box around them all, right click and group. Now I'm going to put this one back over the top, select them both, edit center, edit middle. So I know that they're all centered to each other now, and while they're both still selected, group. And what I will get effectively is this here. So this outside line will cut, and then these inner lines will start here, come round and cut and stop. Then it will come onto the next section, come round here and stop, and do each individual one. And if I zoom in, the bits where the break are won't cut, and they'll be the sections that are held together by your card. So I'm going to go back to mat. So that's the first one. So now I'm going to bring this other one in. Again, I'm just going to resize it down a bit. While it's selected, right click and create a duplicate and put that one over there, out of the way. Then again, I'm just going to zoom in just so you can see it better on the video. I'm going to select a circle, size the circle down so it overlaps these lines. It's got to overlap, so you know you're going to have to play around with your sizing. You can see it overlaps easily there and there, but it's not here, so I need to make it a little bit bigger. And that looks okay. I'm going to select both, edit, subtract. Select it again, right click and divide, which will break it apart. So these are all individual sections again. Double click, get your first line showing up in turquoise here, which it will do automatically when you double click. Open the path, and then with the next section automatically selected, delete. Double click again, open the path, delete. Double click again. Now this time it's selected this and I don't want it to, so I'm going to click on this node and it's selected here. So that's opened that path completely. Again, I've double clicked and that's selected that, so I just need to open the path. On this one, it's only selected these few, so I need to open the path and then I need to hit delete. How the design was made will determine, when you double click to expose the nodes, what sections you get chosen, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to zoom back out, right click and group all this, and then select this, come to edit, offset, make it about 12, this one, outward and OK, and see how that one looks. That doesn't look too bad. That's the original, so we'll leave it there. So we'll select both of those, edit, align center, edit, align middle, right click and group. So that's the other one. Okay, and you would do that on all your designs. This is just another design that I got from the machine, so I'll duplicate it. Should be exactly the same. I won't bother making this one any smaller, I don't think. Get a circle. We're going to have to size this one down and see if we can get it to overlap, and it is there. So I'll select both, right click, subtract, and again it's all one group, right click and divide, and then you just do exactly the same thing. Choose a node, open. Now if you look at this one, I'll zoom in a little bit. This one's got this extra little piece, so if I double click, I can either manipulate it manually or I can select it and delete it. I'll just zoom back out. So double click, this one's exposed the whole line, so can open that one, and it's just exactly the same principle. If it selects the whole line for you, then you just use this far right icon, but on this one it's only selected this bit, so you use the far right icon to break the line, and then the next section of the line you use delete, and you would just do exactly the same on this one. So open the path and then delete. Okay, and then again right click and group, and then you can resize this one, edit, outset, and obviously the outset, you know, depends on how you want your flower to look. On some of them you might need to do a bigger outset than others. I'm going to group those. So that's 3 now from just the inbuilt patterns. So I'm just going to save these into my projects. And now I'm going to show you how you can do it with a design you find on the internet. So I'm going to go back, create a new project. I went to Google and then I chose images, and I went and typed in flower, and then I broke the search down by using a search for black and white images and I think clip art, something like that. And I've shown you how to do that in a previous video. So I've got a design saved on my desktop here, a JPEG design. So I'm going to come into the image tracing icon, I'm going to find the file that's on my desktop, and it's this one, and I'm going to choose it. And as you can see, it's called Flower Clip Art Black and White. That's the name it had on the internet. I'm going to leave everything as it is, and I'm going to click Preview and see if it picks up. I only want the outer edge of this flower. I don't need all these bits in the middle. And I can see the turquoise box around the outside, so I'm going to say OK, because that's the bit it's going to trace for me. And there's my design. So I'm going to right click and duplicate and put that on one side, and then you would treat this exactly the same. So you come to your basic shapes, find a circle, size it down so it overlaps all those points. I'm going to have to drag it out a little bit because it's not quite getting them all. If I zoom in, so you can see it's overlapping now, all these, the circles on top. So I'm going to select both, edit, subtract. Again, it's one design, so you need to select it and right click and hit divide so that you can deal with each one of these petals now individually. And again, I'm just going to double click and do exactly the same thing. So I'm going to open the path and then hit delete because that was the next section chosen. I'm going to do the same thing. This time it's chosen the whole line, so I only need to hit open the path. Again, it's chosen this, so I'm going to open the path and then delete. Open the path, delete. Open the path, open the path and delete. If I hit that icon again, it will close the path back up. That's why you have to open it and then delete. So open the path and then delete. So that's the design. Select it all, right click and group. Just going to zoom to my mat so you can see what I'm doing. Bring this one in, edit, outset. Make it about 16, see how it looks. That's the outer design. That's my original. Select both, edit, align center, edit, align middle, right click, group. And that's another design. I've done another video in the past, I think it was called Heart Home Decor Frame or something like that, and that was basically taking a heart from the inbuilt designs in ScanNCut canvas and breaking that down the middle so it only cut the outer edges, and then I recreated it and cut it in some scrapbook paper and then framed it. It's the same principle. Anyway, I hope you found that helpful. Please like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.